You saw all the crime that took place last night, the night before. The woman with the burning, they burned the woman. To be talking about that now, they burned this beautiful woman riding in a train. A man was arrested 72 times. 72 times, think of that. And they'll let him out again. The liberal judges will let him out again. But we're ready to go. You know, we've been moving toward Chicago. We have a governor that thinks it's wonderful that only like 7 people were killed this week. But we are moving toward doing it, and we're going to, if crime gets, it's horrible what's happening in Chicago. We could make Chicago a safe city in a period of 4 weeks. In a period of 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, it would be totally safe. And the people of Chicago want us to go there. And if you look at the crime that's taken place in Chicago in the last 2 weeks, just take a look. It's on the front page of every newspaper. It's out of control. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob. He ought to invite us in, say, please make Chicago safe. We're going to lose a great city if we don't do it quickly. Make Chicago. We'll do the same thing as we did in D.C., the same thing as we did everywhere we've gone. It's become almost instantly safe. And I want to do it in Chicago. So Governor Pritzker, if you're listening, let's get your act together. Invite us in. We're going to make your place so safe. You're not going to have these crimes that are making the newspapers and the front page of every newspaper and television story, news story. We'll make Chicago a safe place very quickly. I looked at the various cases.
Horrific story out of Chicago. A man with a long, violent criminal history is facing a terrorism charge after police say he set a woman on fire on a train. Shanley Painter joins us now with more. And Shanley, we saw this take place in New York and now Chicago.
Right, Carly. So police say the 26-year-old victim was riding the Blue Line train in Chicago around 9 p.m. when this man, 50-year-old Lawrence Reed, allegedly approached her from behind, removed the cap from a bottle of liquid, and then poured it all over the victim's head and body. The woman attempted to fight off Reed, and then she ran, but Reed eventually caught up with her. Police say that after igniting the bottle and then he dropped it, he used it to ignite the bottle and then set the victim on fire.
What is it with young liberal white women and repeat offender monstrous black men killing them and attacking them on public transportation as of late? They're either shooting them, they're stabbing them in the neck, they're setting them on fire, they're punching them on subways. You know, the crazy part is that it's the black community celebrating this, but secretly. Like, you won't know this, but they will make donations to these people's GoFundMe. They like the fact that you're harming white people on their behalf. And these are the same people that you were protesting with your fist up, talking about Black Lives Matter. Actually, that's the crazy thing.
You saw all the crime that took place
last. The crazy thing about the victim. She actually had a Black Lives Matter. She had a Black Lives Matter profile picture on her Facebook for a while. She was a supporter. She had the communist fist up. She was one of basically the people that was supporting the whole prison reform, where she was saying that putting dangerous black repeat offenders in prison for life was racist. They listened to her and they said, you're right, let's reform the program. And what does prison reform mean? It means we're just going to let criminals that should be in prison, or we're going to just let them out of jail. So this man with 72 priors was released under prison reform guidelines that this woman supported and was in favor of. And unfortunately, a psychopath that wanted to go home for the holidays set her on fire. And what I mean home for the holidays is the men that are attacking these women, because they're mentally ill, they don't work, so they don't function in society. They're living on the streets. They're in and out of prison their whole life. Prison is home. They have a bed there, they have a toilet, they have a shower, and they're fed. It's akin to slavery, except you don't have to do the manual labor part, but there's a master, there's a warden who's telling you what to do, when to do it. There's people to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to. Your life is structured. It's getting cold in Chicago. He would be living on the streets. He wanted to go back to prison. But how do you can't break into jail, and you can't just show up and say, hey, let me in. I want to be here for a few months. Excuse me, until the spring or until it warms up, or just indefinitely. Just let me come stay here. You can't do that. You're going to have to commit a crime. But this man has been, they keep letting him out of jail. He doesn't want to get out. So he was like, you know what? I'm tired of them kicking me back out there on the streets where it's cold and I don't have food and I have no shower. So let me do something this time where they're going to just keep me in here longer. Because he missed his vacation. You know, that's what prison is nowadays. Vacation. You go there to get away from the stress of your family, the stress of paying bills. You get to just play video games. You get to play games all day, chess, poker, hang out with your buddies. It's not really even a punishment. So these people are on the streets and they're dying to go back. That's why they want to let them out. They want them to hurt these people, specifically white people. They want them to attack them and hurt them on their behalf. Why do you think there's no prominent black leaders or anyone coming out to speak out against these murders, to say, hey, this is wrong, we should not be attacking these people? You don't see D.L. Hewley or any of these other gay black celebrity men denouncing any of this because they love it. That's why I keep telling people, why do you insist on coexisting next to people that want you dead? You know, this is their fantasy come true. A defenseless white woman or a white child, you know, like the woman that just got convicted of walking up to that mother and son and stabbing the kid and killing them in front of the mother. You know, there's a war going on that you don't even know that you're in, but you're the target. They're scared to death of your white men. So they go after the soft targets. They go after the women. They go after the children. 72 arrests. This man had no business being on the streets, no business being available. You know, there's surveillance footage of him at a gas station filling up a bottle with gasoline and then walking off. Why are they letting just some random man fill up a cup, not a gas container, but a cup, like a water bottle full of gasoline, just to walk around with it? And then he finds a defenseless, innocent white woman, specifically a white woman, because the other people on the train were blacks. He went after her purposely, the same way that other maniac went after the Ukrainian girl that was just sitting on the train. But you see how ridiculous liberalism and feminism makes you? As a woman, feminism tells you you can fight. You can fight a man. You're stronger than a man. You don't need a man. And liberalism, you depend on the police. You think that society can help you and people can save you, and you don't need a man. You don't need a family. You don't need to listen to a father. You don't need to listen to a brother. You don't need a husband. What society is showing us going forward is that with the fact that law enforcement is going to be decreased going forward because black culture has overrun American culture, under black culture, there will not be law enforcement because that's a part of the agreement. They want to be able to get away with crime and in exchange for their votes. So the politicians that come in will always advocate for removing funding from police organizations. So you're not going to be able to lean on law enforcement. You're going to need a husband. Why these women are thinking that they can still walk around by themselves, take themselves to work, go to the gym, walk home from clubs, ride the subway by themselves, buses by themselves. Did you know that's like a relatively new thing? Women didn't start doing that until maybe the last 10 or so years. Before that, most women understood the inherent dangers of riding public transportation or even walking the streets at night alone by yourself. But this false sense of security and illusion is a delusion. Literally, you're so liberal that you trust psychotic, mentally ill black men sitting behind you on public transportation. And you're not at all the least bit worried about one of them, I don't know, punching you in the back of the head, stabbing you in the throat, or deciding to immolate you with gasoline randomly. I am a man, big, dark, and I wouldn't let one of these crack smoking, prison jumping, watermelon slurping. I wouldn't let one of them sit behind me at all, ever. I'm sitting in the back of the bus myself. And if there's no room in the back of the bus, I'm staring at you eye to eye. If there's going to be a problem in 10 minutes, we might as well just get started with it now. But that's the whole point. That's the mentality of a man. These women are walking and pretending like everything is just sweet. La 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 la, do 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 do, just living in the clouds. And there's literally somebody who wants to douse you with gasoline and set you ablaze. They don't even know if she's going to survive. The burns are covered. The reports are over 60%. Do you know what that looks like? Do you know what kind of damage that does to the nervous system? Do you know how much pain she's in? The skin grafts, and then it's not even a guarantee that she's going to survive. It's been a few days, but she could pass at any time. Her body could go into shock. All because she was too loving and trusting of black people. Oops, I'm not allowed to say that, right? Oh, now I'm a groiper. Now I'm Tucker. Now I'm for what? Pointing out reality. Literally, I've done report after report of maniac black man attacking defenseless small white woman on public. I've done all these. I keep doing these stories, and it's like, are you sharing them? Are you having conversations with your friends about them, or are you just clicking and just not listening to the end? Are you not paying attention? What are we going to do as men? Well, we're not going to do anything. There's nothing we can do. These are not our women. She is single at her age when she should be somebody's wife. She should already be a mother. She should have been at home in a kitchen preparing dinner. She should have been protected and safe because she has a husband and a father. But instead, there is no husband, and her father's a liberal as well, and he just allowed his daughter to, well, that's just propaganda. They're only in jail because of racism. They didn't really commit any crimes. Racist, white, supremacist police officers just drive around black areas. They knock on doors and they just make up lists and they say, "Hey, is your name John Johnson?" He's like, "Yeah." You're going to jail. And they just arrest random black people who don't commit crimes for no reason. They just pick them off the streets. They're all innocent. They never didn't do nothing until they do something. I can't breathe. I'm not under arrest. I didn't do nothing. I'm pregnant. I know my rights. Let me call my lawyer. Call your supervisor. What about my kids? Call my mama. Anything to get out of being arrested when you're a public threat. You know, you think they only just go around killing each other, which is the norm. But now that the lines are being blurred, they want to get rid of redlining and kind of integrate society further. They want you to be a victim. They want you wiped out. You know that. They hate straight white men, so if they can't, but they're scared of them, so they go after women or children, you know, because they can't go after the men. They're scared of them still. You know, we don't have to live like this. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to be the next victim. It doesn't have to be your sister or your cousin or your mother next. There are precautions that can be put in place. You don't have to live like this. You know, Trump's sitting here. He's been begging to go into Chicago, but you got a Marxist mayor, a black guy, Brandon Johnson, who hates white people, who's literally probably going to throw a party tonight to celebrate what happened to this girl, Mrs. MaGee. He didn't come out and denounce it. Never will. The governor, the slob Pritzker that Trump was referring to, he wants this crime to continue. It's all a part of the agenda. By any means necessary, brick by brick, they will pull down our republic. And the fact that they're able to shame and manipulate people into just kind of laying down their arms and just accepting it's scary to me. It means it means that, it's like, am I one of the only people fighting by myself? Where's the rest of us? Everyone's just so scared to fight. Everyone's scared to physically fight. Everyone's afraid of getting hurt. Everyone's afraid of dying. Newsflash, they're going to come kill you anyway. And your kids. And they're going to set your women on fire. And you're going to let them, if you're going to be too cowardly to step out here into the fray, say something about it and do something about it. When I say America first, I mean Americans first. The people that we're fighting against, the people that did this to her, they don't even consider themselves Americans. They hate America. They're our enemies, living right next to us, speaking the same language. It makes it difficult because they know the topography and they know how to manipulate the system and pervert the laws to protect themselves when it's convenient. In the meantime, we're just sitting ducks. Depending on where you live, on how blue your area is, how many Democrats are in your local government, you're not able to defend yourself. The tenets of the First and Second Amendment of the country have been removed. You can't have weapons. There is no self-defense clauses. And if you're white, you're screwed because they will throw the book at you. The way they tried to do Daniel Penny and Daniel Pearson. The way they just did the man that the 67-year-old senior citizen that had to kill those muggers. They're sending him to jail because they're saying his gun that he used wasn't registered. They're looking for any loophole to go after anyone white, anyone straight, anyone male that they can. And we're watching it happen in real time, and everyone's just afraid to say something. What are you afraid of? They're going to come after you no matter what. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But wouldn't you rather at least give them a reason to want to come get you? You don't have to live like this. You don't have to be a victim. It's heartbreaking knowing what this woman went through. She's going to be in the hospital. She's in the hospital right now. Her family is already planning on being in there with her on Thanksgiving. But there's no guarantee she's going to make it to the day after. There's no guarantee she's going to live till Friday. And then what does the recovery look like when 60% of your body has been melted? What do you do? How do you get a husband and get married and have a family? All the things that we take for granted that we think we can just do anytime, you don't have that option. The new world we're coming into, this new country, you are going to learn that you need men, that you need husbands, not for money, but for protection. It's a scary, lonely, and dangerous world. Don't forget, depending on where you live in these cities, you're surrounded by a bunch of black people who live off of a government that enables them to harm you because even the government hates you. Because you're the only ones historically that have been able to stand up to the government and make changes. You know how the system works. If anything, people think it works in your favor. They're afraid of you. So they want to let everybody out of prison. And these people are raised to hate white people from birth. They get a flat tire on the road, it must be white people. They have fantasies of some evil white man that torments them and follows them to job interviews and follows them to work and follows them to the bathroom if the toilet doesn't work. Oh man, well, it must be white people. They're raised this way. And then you wonder why they all of a sudden want to commit acts of terror. It's enabled, it's promoted. A literal army built by the media around you. They envy you. They envy your family. They hate you. They hate your kids. They hate your family structure. They hate that there's fathers in your homes because they don't have one. And you think you can just get on a bus or a subway and they're not going to want to take a shot at hurting you? You're naive. We call it a normalcy bias. You're going to have to get over that. Your normalcy bias is to now expect yourself to be punched, stabbed, or set ablaze when you ride public transportation without a man with you. And even with the man, even though that might not deter somebody fully, it'll give you a chance to run and let the man deal with it. But by yourself, you guys don't stand a chance. This is horrible. Just watching this woman and looking at her, but knowing that she was knowing that she had a Black Lives Matter profile picture where, like they add that to your where that's what she was supporting. The whole prison reform, Black Lives Matter, police are evil. But when she was on fire, smoke everywhere from her own skin, she's begging for a white policeman to come save her. The same people that she was supporting hate and violence against only a few years ago. Those same white people that you guys all pretend to hate are the same ones you're going to be begging for to come save you. It's a shame how this is all panning out, and there's really not much that, things are already set in motion. There's a lot of these psychos walking around every day. They're ticking time bombs. And these liberal women are just trusting and believing that white police officers are the problem and not the maniac monsters that they're locking in prison. When the vaccine first came out and all these different people were talking about whoever doesn't take it should go to jail and this, and then you see that they had a vaccine-related death shortly after. Blood clot, heart attack, aneurysms, cancer, turbo cancer. We say that those people fell on their own sword. That's the phrase we use. And not to mock this woman, but when you're supporting Black Lives Matter prison reform, and then a Black person with 72 arrests that gets released, sets you on fire and tries to kill you, or pretty much kills you, that is the equivalent of you falling on your own sword. People try to say, oh, she probably just didn't know. It was years ago, this and this. Whose fault is it that you don't want to think about your decisions? You want to be so loving, but remember, for you to love these Black people, you have to denounce white people. You have to hate them too. You have to hate the white men. You have to hate police. So you can't say, I love white people and I love police, but also love Black people. No. To be a supporter of Black Lives Matter, you have to choose one and denounce the other. There is no kumbaya. There is no relationship between the two. You're either on one side or the other. Now, I pick my side. I choose the sides of law enforcement and white people. Period. I'm not invited to the cookout, but I'll be honest, the Kool-Aid had too much sugar in it anyway. Diabetes is a problem, heart disease. I'm cool on the cookout. Please bring me some casserole with raisins in it. That's fine with me. I'll live. I don't need all that salt on my chicken anyway. Bad for your blood pressure. But but she's a victim today. There's going to be another one tomorrow and the day after. But if you share this video and you speak to these women and you give them this new information about the new dangers, there's a brand new breed of criminals out there, and you were convinced a few years ago that they're not criminals, we're going to reverse that now. And your guard needs to go back up. 5-10 years ago, if a white woman seen a group of Black men that looked dangerous walking towards them, if they were smart, they'd grab their purse and cross the street. Now these people are walking directly through the crowd thinking everything is going to be just okay, and then they get their head busted open and robbed. And then they sit there and look crazy. Cross the street again. Learn to distrust. A little bit of racism would have helped this woman. If she was a little bit more racist, she would have never been on fire, because she would have stepped onto that bus, seen all them Black people and said, you know what? I'd rather walk than be in a small confined space with such dangerous people with horrible histories. You have to literally wipe your memory of the history of everything you see on the news every day about all these different criminals and the pattern. You know, to call pattern recognition racist is ridiculous. But if she would have just followed this pattern and understood where she was and understood the dangers of getting on that train or on that bus, she wouldn't be in the hospital right now. Just a smidge of racism would have helped her. It would have been healthy for her. But it was shamed out of her by her family, by the TV, by the media, her school, her teachers. They all were just trying to set her up. And they just, you know, they scored another one today. And it's unfortunate. You got to keep your wits about yourself. You got to keep your guards up. You don't want to be next. Shit, I pay a lot of money to live as far away from them as possible because I don't want to be next. You should at least implement half of the precautions that I do. Or you'll end up in the hospital wondering what happens. You know, all that virtue signaling eventually will backfire. It's not worth it. Share the video, like it, get me into the algorithm. I do appreciate it. Or don't. I mean, these videos are helping you more than me. I already know this, but I'm doing this because more people need to understand that we're not in Kansas anymore. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.